Aina, and welcome to Voices of Truth, one-on-one with Hawaii's future, brought to you by the Kiwani Foundation. I'm Kahiwa Kahakui, and here we are today at Diamond Head Beach on the island of Oahu. We got a great guest, so let's go on over here and meet her. Kahiwa.
Hey, aloha.
Aloha, how are you?
Fabulous.
Great to have you on the show. Introduce yourself to everybody. Kahiwa
Kahakui.
Wonderful, wonderful. And here we are. Look at this. Look at this weather. Look at this beach. Wow. This is gorgeous here today. We got low tide.
And low tide.
Kahiwa, we wanted to have you on the show, and particularly down here by the water, because I can just tell by looking at you, your physique, you're one of those people that does this, a paddler, right?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to be a canoe paddler here in Hawaii.
Wow, but you're not just any paddler, you're the crazy paddler. That's what they call you, right?
Yeah, a lot of people just know me as the paddler. They don't necessarily know my name, which is fine with me.
Right. But how did you get known that way?
Well, I think, you know, like all things, you have an aha moment, and that aha moment tells you to do the right thing. And I've been a paddler for about 30 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, felt that it was time to actually do something about it instead of just talking about how we need to take care of our ocean, to try and do something. And since I have been gifted, through my ancestors, the ability to paddle, I decided that what better to try and paddle this island chain of ours to try and connect us with the idea that it's time to take care of our ocean.
Wow. So wait a minute, you mean to say that you paddled in and out rigger canoe all the way around all the islands?
What I can say is, initially, you know, this is back in the 90s when it was crazy to paddle from island to island.
Yeah.
You know, paddled from Maui to Oahu, which is 78 miles. Paddled from Big Island to the island of Oahu, connecting 4 islands, right?
Right.
All for the environment, and then paddling around the island of Oahu by then bringing in the community to do community projects, and then paddling from Oahu to Ni'ihau.
So you did these to raise money and raise awareness, yeah?
Mostly to raise awareness, to be perfectly honest. I mean, that was the first goal, was just, you know, we are surrounded by water, and then being a part Hawaiian woman, it's my kuleana, it's my responsibility to be somebody who leads by example. I don't really want to tell people what to do, but try to inspire them to say, hey, look, you know, if you just pick up that plastic bag or you just pick up that plastic bottle, you're going to save a turtle or you're going to save something, and that's going to make a positive difference. And, you know, you don't have to do much. You don't have to paddle from island to island, but the thought was, it was actually a friend of mine's idea that just said, you know, you keep talking about how we got to do right by the environment, but, you know, nobody's really changing because, you know, as competitors, you know, you want to win. So how do you get people motivated? And so a friend of mine just said, kind of in a joking way, why don't you just paddle from Maui to Oahu on your one man? And the media is going to bite, and then they're going to listen to you because you did this crazy thing. Because back then it was crazy. Right. And, you know, and do it. So I went to Nainoa Thompson. I said, will you escort me to make sure I make this trip? And he was all in because, you know, he's Polynesian Voyage Society and Hokulea, and their whole mission is to, you know, take care and be there for the next generation. And that's our responsibility, as part Hawaiians, not only us here today, not the next generation, but for 7 generations to come. Initially, it was like we didn't know what we were doing, so it was like I had a blue canoe. Okay, so you can imagine once the sun goes down, trying to find a blue canoe.
You can't see it.
You can't really see it. We didn't go on a full moon. There was no moon.
Whoa.
So you couldn't really see me. And then we didn't know what to eat, so we were eating like spam musubi and you know, whatever you wanted to eat. So it's like, you know, your stomach starts saying, hello, you're paddling, and this is not a positive experience for me. So
paddling and eating Doritos.
Yeah. And then we didn't, I don't think I even had change of clothes. So it was just like I was always wet, I was always cold. I kind of threw up across Kaiwi because it was just like, it's too much for your body to handle trying to digest solid food when you're paddling constantly for like 18, 19 hours.
Wow.
So, you know, it was a good learning experience, and I know I dropped his one man in when it got super dark. They kind of lost us, I think, for a little while, but, you know, he and I were together and he taught me about the stars, and I was very fortunate. I mean, it's such a great gift to be able to paddle across our island chain. You know, we didn't even know how to train for that. I mean, how do you train for that? You know, so you just kind of ad-lib. You kind of do whatever you think you can do it. You know, I mean, we had, you know, obviously there's the Molokai race, and I've done that several times, and, you know, you do the relay and all that stuff. So, you know, I've been across the channel, And, you know, so it's just adding another channel and the length of Molokai, which is like 40 miles. So, you know, you're kind of just trying to figure it out. And it's like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? But, you know, you know that at the end of the day, what is it to give 20 hours of your body and time when there's destruction actually happening in our ocean just of stuff we've done?
Yeah.
You know, it's really sad. So
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and that's a very good point that you talk about, which is that, you know, we hear so much about conserving and taking care for Malama, the Aina, taking care of the land, but there's the ocean too. And if you don't have one, you can't have the other.
Yeah,
I guess,
so
right?
Yeah, so you understand. I mean, in the Ahupua'a concept, right? The concept of our land division.
From the mountain to the ocean.
From the mountain to the sea, you have to be able to have both, right? So upland, right, had the kalo, had the vine olana, right? That would make our nets.
Yep.
Then you would have the nets come down, they would do the fishing, and then you would have one of the two. So you have to always remember, you know, in our system, at least traditionally, I mean, Hawaiians were the best environmentalists, and I mean traditional Hawaiians, not necessarily me, not necessarily my generation or even the generations after me, but really historically, traditionally Hawaiians, they're still trying to figure out what our ancestors did and how they did it and how they knew to do it.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't even have the technology that we have today. So it's amazing the things, and I wish that we were taught, you know, some of those things. It was unfortunately lost in translation, you know, over the years. So it's kind of sad that way. But, you know, yes, it is a matter of trying to bring awareness to our ocean. It's so vital. And people kind of just, not that you forget about it, but you think, look how beautiful it is. You know, it can take care of itself. But then when you're out there and you see the destruction, or you see the ghost nets, or you see the plastic bags, or you see, you know, just the destruction from the animals that have perished because people haven't checked their nets. You know, once again, it's our kuleana. Yeah, if you utilize the ocean, it's our kuleana. It's our responsibility to give back.
If you use it, you got to give back.
That's what I believe.
And you're right. Picking up one plastic bag could save
a turtle, and you have to believe that.
Yeah. What is a ghost net?
Ghost net is when there's a lot of derelict nets, so a lot of people either lose your net, you know, when you throw a net or lay net, and then it gets caught out there in the ocean, or long liners, right?
Yeah.
And it creates like a false reef.
I got you.
So a lot of the fishermen like them, right? Because you false reef, you got this big pack of nets, and then you have the animals that come to it that sometimes get entangled on, like turtles, monk seals, birds. So they end up dying, but they end up creating a food source. So then you get the fish, the bigger fish that come to eat the food source, and then the fishermen can come and then they can fish off of that.
So that's easy pickings for them.
So that's easy pickings for them.
Gotcha.
But how many animals die
so they can do that?
So that they can do that.
Right,
you know, so it's like, you know, you got to kind of weigh it, especially with our endangered species. I mean, the monk seal is one of the most endangered species we have, and it's like, really, are we not going to care enough about that one monk seal? We really kind of need to. And as fishermen, needing to protect the resource, you know, it's like just remember, every time you take, you got to give back.
Yeah.
And how do you do that if you're constantly taking?
Kahiwa, how did you get involved in this? What was your aha moment that made you so passionate about all this?
Well, I guess there's a couple things, you know. I mean, you kind of taught by our kapuna, right? Our elders, you know, to take a moment, right? Look at the ocean, look at the wind, look at our sky, and try and utilize it as a mentor for the lessons that we need to learn and for the path we need to take. And you never really understand that as a kid, I don't think. You know, I mean, you're just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever you say, because back then, right, you don't ask questions, you just try and learn from watching.
Yeah.
So I had always seen rubbish as a kid. I've always been a water baby. I'm very fortunate that way. I grew up on this ocean, actually right here. And just kind of saw stuff, but didn't know I could do anything about it. You know, kind of just took it for granted. Okay, there's a plastic bag, or there's rubbish, or there's whatever. And that's not positive, pick it up, okay, but you know, how do we make a greater difference? Didn't really think to that extent. And then when I came home from college, I began paddling. One man had just started hitting Hawaii from Tahiti. And so I began paddling on my friend's one man. And actually it was right out here. There's a run that you can go from Waikiki up to Diamond Head Buoy or down to Alamoana Buoy right
buoy
here.
Right out there.
Yeah, that's Diamond Head Buoy right there.
Right there, okay.
So it's like a 6-mile course. And I was out here one morning, like 6 a.m. The sun was just coming up over Diamond Head. It was Malia, yeah? So it's rough today, but it was flat. And you could see all the way down. You could see the sand ripples and everything. And it was just a beautiful day. And I was all by myself on the ocean. So it's like, you know, what a gift. And then all of a sudden, I'm paddling along, and then I see a dorsal fin. So yeah, so kind of first go, okay, this could be an exciting moment, you know, but you just keep paddling, you just keep kind of doing your thing, and whatever will be, right? You're taught that always. So
Yep.
kept paddling, and then all of a sudden there were like 3 dorsal fins, and before I knew it, I had 3 bottlenose dolphins around me
Wow.
on my one man. So I'm like 6 inches off, you know, like I'm 6 inches off the ocean.
Right.
I have their dorsal fins probably like 6 inches from the canoe. And bottlenose dolphins are pretty big in comparison to our Hawaiian spinners.
Yeah, they're big.
So, you know, it's probably like the length of my canoe. My canoe's 21 feet. So I was like, oh, okay, hi, you know. And
You
and
have
so
an escort.
I have an escort. And they pretty much stayed with me from Ala Moana Buoy all the way back up here.
Wow.
And they kind of went underneath and crisscrossed and came back up because I could see them.
Wow.
And I'm just kind of like trying not to hit them. But every time I took a stroke, they would go down and then they would kind of crisscross and then they would come back up. So I was just like, okay, you know, this is what a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden, the one that was the smallest of the 3 came up alongside and just kind of hung out with me. And then on this one occasion, just kind of turned and looked at me, and pretty much what I can say is touched my soul, you know. And that would be my aha moment was, okay, you know, I can't just talk about it. I actually have to be a leader and do something about it. I have to actually make that difference. So for me, it was just trying to determine how to make the difference. Yeah, how do I get people to listen? But it was that one moment. It was that one single moment that seems like it happened yesterday, and it seemed like it happened for eternity, where that dolphin just turned and just looked right into the eyes of my soul.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was my moment, and that pretty much started the whole deal. And then it was just rallying my friends and saying, okay, it's time, you know. And so Teresa Bright, you know, one of the singers, she actually gave me the name Kaimakana, Gifts from the Sea, to say this is your journey. And then I think everything fell into place. I mean, my Hawaiian name is Kahiwa Kahakui, which means the chosen one of the heavenly waters. So I'm very fortunate to have this name, but with the name came the responsibility, which I didn't know as a kid, right? You never know. You're like, okay, well, you know, everybody's like, oh, what a beautiful name you have.
Right.
But then the kauna of it is, okay, you are now stepping into your path, which is you are responsible for the ocean that has no voice. So it's kind of like what the kupuna say.
Yeah.
You have to appreciate the gifts.
Yep.
You have to acknowledge the signs, and then you have to see those signs, you know? You have to be patient enough to see the signs. Once you find that path or you have that moment, you really can't. I mean, I think you're provided the gift. So I was provided the gift of being able to paddle. I was provided the gift of being able to go on our ocean. That in and of itself is a gift.
Yes.
And, you know, I was fortunate to see the signs, and it's my responsibility. How can I spend so much time on the ocean? I feel far better on the ocean than I do on land. I can paddle faster than I can run. So, you know, it's only logical that I give back.
Wow.
And I think that's what we're missing kind of in the current generation. They're so technologically advanced that they just don't have the time to notice the ocean or the wind or the sky.
Yeah. Surely, Kahiwa, you know, I have to think that with your talents and abilities now and what you've come to see and learn and have done, that you're out there inspiring others of all ages. So, yeah?
Well, I think all I can do is lead by example. You know, I think in this day and age, you know, telling people, you know, you need to do this or you need to vote or, you know, I mean, that's great. I think that's a message too. But for me,
But that really doesn't work.
It may work for some, but maybe not for others. So what I try and do is, you know, if we were on this beach and we saw a plastic bag, I would pick it up.
Right.
And maybe there would be 5 other people that would see me pick it up. And maybe the next time, you know, they're going to touch people and they're going to pick up that plastic bag and so on and so forth. So all I try and do is affect the one. I mean, one story that I'll tell you that happened after the Maui one, which made me continue to do it, is after I had accomplished the 78 miles, I remember paddling, and I was paddling up the Alawa in my one man, and another paddler came by me, and he had rubbish on his one man, and I looked at him and I was like, you know, good job. He goes, yeah. I figure if you can paddle 78 miles, I can pick up rubbish.
Wow.
And to me, that is what inspired. That one person
So he knew you
inspired
were.
me. Yeah. I mean, we're all in the paddling community. It was,
Yeah.
it was, you know everybody. It's like, and so, if you're crazy enough to paddle 70 miles, the least I can do is pick up rubbish. And that one conversation inspired all the other paddles to come saying, okay, I did make a difference to the one.
Right.
So as long as you make a difference to the one,
Right.
haven't you made a difference? It doesn't matter if it's just 1 versus 100 versus 1,000. It's just, it was my responsibility. It was my gift back to the ocean to say, I can go through this kind of pain for you because every day you're taking all of ours.
So Kahiwa, you have an organization, Kahiwa Kahakui, yes?
Yep.
Tell us about that.
I can tell you we're 100% nonprofit. We're a bunch of paddlers or ocean lovers who just come together, volunteer to try and make this place better, to try and do something, and small or big, and try to get people to be inspired, to take care of our ocean as small or as big as you want it to be.
Wow, so are you guys like a Sierra Club or not?
Yeah, I wouldn't say, Kahiwa kind of is going to be a Sierra Club or even going to have that kind of design. We really, we appreciate the Sierra Clubs and for sure the Blue Planets who actually do the lobbying and do the talking and all that. We're more of an organization that at the end of the day, it's not going to matter about our name. It's not going to matter even about who I am. What's going to matter is, do we leave a mark for the next generation to follow in our footsteps? Basically, all I'm doing is I'm walking in the footsteps of my ancestors who were the best environmentalists the world has ever seen. And the hope is that I can leave that for this generation and more generations to come. So Kahiwa Kahakui is a nonprofit that really just wants to kind of lead by example. Give people opportunities if they want to. We're trying to restore an island called Moku'ea, which is right off the airport. It's one of the last fishing villages in the state of Hawaii.
Off the Honolulu airport.
Yep, off the Honolulu airport. So it's industrial Honolulu.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know about it, but we're trying to restore that. So a lot of our efforts have gone to that. We've had, tons of schools, Kamehameha, Punahou, Iolani, Farrington, Roosevelt, Mililani. I mean, it's amazing how many people want to come out, and that's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn how to paddle to your first island, right? A lot of people don't know about it, so it's like, so what if it's only 2 minutes away?
Right.
Via paddle, you can get there to your first island, but it's an opportunity to make a difference to a community for future generations. So we do that. We also do like a mentorship project where we take kids for like a year. We teach them water quality. What's in our ocean? Look at our ocean. Look how pretty our ocean is, but is it healthy? Is it safe? Are we taking care of it or are we killing it? We talk about marine debris. Where does that come from? What are we going to do with it? What is our part in that? Plastics, right? You always hear about plastics now.
Yep.
So we try to teach kids, hey, this is the science. We really miss scientists in Hawaii. So we need to try and inspire kids to go into science and become better stewards than we are. And that's kind of what Kahiwa Kahakui wants to do. And then we take these kids for the mentorship project and we take them to like Tahiti or Aotearoa or Rapa Nui. Yeah, so because the goal is to make the triangle, right?
Yeah.
So the triangle is, it's us, it's Aotearoa, and it's Rapa Nui with Tahiti being our piko.
Yep. And all the islands in Polynesia inside.
So it's a try to connect us in the Pacific and say, we are all one, just like our island chain.
Yep.
Yeah, we are all one. Let's make this place smaller so we can take care of one another.
Okay, so the island you were talking about back by Honolulu Airport, you said you're trying to restore it. Restore it to what?
Okay, so we're trying to restore it as actually a self-sustainable fishing village.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a native fish pond on there.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got rid of a lot of the invasives. We've been involved with Moku'ea probably for the last 6 years. Just trying to get rid of all the rubbish. It's an island right off the airport. Department of Transportation, I believe, back in the 70s tried to burn down all the houses that were on those atolls over there.
Oh, wow.
And as a result, the families, with the help of Dr. John Kelly, he came in and he said, hey, look, this is not right. And so they were able to show kuleana rights to this particular island, which historically actually goes back to royalty days. I mean, if you take a look at Sand Island in of itself was a man-made structure, right? They brought in sand and they dredged and all that. Yeah. But there were little islands out there, right? Went back in the 40s and 50s, 60s, all the way back.
That people lived on, yeah?
That people lived on. But that also was like our refrigerator.
Yes.
There was like 41 fish ponds all the way from there all the way to Pearl Harbor that we all considered our refrigerator. And those are all gone now.
So there's no refrigerator to get
there's no
food from.
That's right. So
Can't
the
eat.
goal is to try and restore this native fish pond, take off all the invasives. We got like Kiave that was just killing that island, and we removed like 98% of it with the help of like tons of volunteer hours. And so we got rid of the marine debris, most of it. We got rid of the invasive, and now we're trying to plant natives. We're trying to restore the fish pond, and we're trying to remove all the marine debris that comes up all the time from us on the mainland, right? Because this island, Mokuea, has residents, and they actually call Oahu the mainland.
The mainland. This is the mainland.
This is the mainland for that island. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. Oh, we gotta go to the mainland to go get groceries. Okay.
So you've been at this for 6 years for that island.
Yep.
And so how much longer do you think it'll take before you're there?
Well, really, the goal of this, of the residents and Mokuea Fishermen's Association, is to make this an educational center. You know,
Gotcha.
to help, you know, so anybody can go to the island and learn. You can learn about marine debris. You can learn about invasives versus natives, and you can actually go to hopefully the native fish pond. You can go catch fish. You can learn how to clean fish, and you can take it home and you can cook it. I mean, how many kids these days actually even know how to fish, or actually have been to a native fish pond unless it's a school class function?
Yeah.
So it's kind of an opportunity for anybody in the public to say, hey, look, this is an educational center, so we don't forget our ancestors, so we don't forget where we came from, and we know that we have to give back. So here it is, and that's the goal. And so I think Kaimakana will always be involved in it and always help this island in a way to make that educational center be self-sustainable. And I think it's close. It's just the fish pond probably needs to be dredged, and then you have EIS issues and those kind of things. And that's kind of where we're hung up right now, is trying to work with the state and federal agencies to get that taken care of.
Gotcha.
But the hope is at some point, you know, really, if you look at it, it is an educational center, even though the fish pond isn't completely working yet, because they go in there, they remove the invasive ogo, they get rid of it. We teach them about fertilizer by utilizing the ogo. So it's just a means of having this little island in industrial Honolulu that royalty, you know, used to come to the refrigerator and get whatever kind of fish, you know, they wanted, and to vacation. That's
Wow.
Yeah, so it's, you know, you really are walking in the footsteps of your ancestors. We need to have the reef, we need to have the coral polyp in order to have fish come, right? Have the limu, have fish come, and create a fishing system.
Yeah.
So isn't it true then we come from the ocean? One resides in the ocean and one resides on the land. So every time you created something in the ocean, you're creating something on the land. Everything was always connected to one another.
Kahiwa, what is it like for the students that go over there and experience this for the first time? What's their reaction to all this stuff?
Well, initially, right, we had 30 years of rubbish on this island that nobody had, you know, I mean, it's just all this rubbish kept coming. The residents are older, you know, the kids have moved away, there's nobody to help them, and it's just sitting there. So when we first brought kids over, the very beginning, I mean, it was crazy, because you would just see refrigerators with barnacles, TVs with barnacles, things floating around in our ocean that comes and lands here. I mean, we've taken kids to Kanapo, Koho'olave, and the entire beach is like plastic and glass.
Just junk.
And there's nobody who lives there. Wow. And the entire beach, because it faces Alinuihaha, Big Island, yeah? So everything comes in and comes into that island, you know, comes right into that bay. And the whole beach is like that. It's the same thing with Mokuea.
Wow.
It's like it hits everything from Oahu.
It traps it.
Traps it right there, comes right there off the stream. So that's why when you throw something outside your car window, let me just say this, and it's generally a cigarette butt, 10 to 1, that's gonna hit our ocean.
We have viewers of Voices of Truth all throughout Hawaii, but we also air our show throughout the world, literally. And I'm sure we have people watching you right now saying, you know, this is really inspiring and great what she has done, but I could never do something like that. What would you say to them?
I would say, think again. I would say, you know what? You're only limited to what you imagine. Yeah? You can do anything. People told me all the time, and people tell kids these days too, you can't do that, you can't do that. And people even told me when I was doing these paddles, you can't paddle from the Big Island to Oahu, or you can't paddle to Oahu Niihau. What are you thinking? 100-something miles, 200 miles? Believe in yourself. You know, don't believe in people who tell you you can't do something. Have that inspire you to actually make the difference.
Wow, that's great. So the last thing I want to ask you, Kahiwa, is what's next for you?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the signs.
Really?
You know, it's as with all things, you know, in life, I've definitely learned over the last 10, 15 years, we have to look to the signs and we have to take the time to slow down. I think the best thing anybody can do is to just to take the moment, take a breath, and make a difference.
Wow. Wow. And mahalo for being on the show. This has been awesome.
No, mahalo.
To
I
visit with you
appreciate the opportunity.
and to hear everything you're up to doing. And please keep going, keep looking for the signs, keep listening, and keep stepping out and acting. And keep paddling.
Keep paddling.
Great. Mahalo for being on the show. And to our viewers, mahalo for being along with us on this visit on beautiful Diamond Head Beach. I'm Ehuke Kahu Cardwell. Remember, you can watch us on the web 24/7 on voicesoftruth.tv.com. And until next time, ahui ho! Mahalo for watching Voices of Truth one-on-one with Hawaii's Future. Watch us on the web 24/7 at voicesoftruth.tv.com. You'll find all our shows, including this one, in case you want to see it again or share it with family and friends. Also view our weekly video commentaries at freehawaiitv.com. And check out our blog, published daily, at freehawaii.info. It's all part of the Free Hawaii Broadcasting Network.